Hello and welcome back to Warframe. My name is Todd, also known as Magi Mech, and this is of course Warframe. Previously we finished up most of the tutorial and we were about to confront Vor, but we also had just reached our mastery rank up, so we could go do that first. But before we get even there, I wanted to talk a little bit about Volt's abilities, just to make sure that that's kind of easy and understandable. So, just to sum up, his first ability, of course, is what you used in the tutorial. His second ability gives him a little bit of a movement speed buff, but it also gives it to all of his allies. His third ability is a shield, which prevents the obstacles from hitting him, which would be bullets. You know, anything that's considered a projectile does not go through the shield. However, things like explosions and enemies can actually just run through the shield, so it should be noted. You can also pick this shield up and walk around with it. Very useful. And his last ability is Discharge. This ability effectively is like an AoE, or area of effect ability, that centers on him, on your character, and it pulses outwards, paralyzing any enemies and damaging them. It kind of spreads similarly to a chain of lightning. You really got to see it to understand it. But first, let's just head up here and let's do our mastery rank up. So these are your rewards for doing it, and effectively from there you just say yes and then you can attempt the test. Note that you can only do this once per day. Later on though, there is a place where you can practice for it, as stated here. This first one, though, should be relatively easy. We shouldn't have any major problems.
A Tenno must be a master of all their weapons. Prove yourself with your primary weapon.
Just using your primary weapon. Simple as can be. Oh, of course I whiff.
Excellent. Continue.
Just after saying it's easy, I whiff it. Note, you do have a time limit for these missions, usually, and you also have very specific goals. So if you're not paying good enough attention, like I wasn't there, you can fail these missions. And failing, considering you can only do it once per day, is very annoying. So you'll often want to take your best weapons and your best
I believe
Warframe,
you can handle more.
just to make sure. Note that I can't actually change my weapon, nor can I use any of my abilities, since this is purely a test of my primary ability. Or primary weapon ability. Come on, there we go. Pin him to the wall. I hate Ospreys. So... Ospreys are those, of course, those little flying jerks. They do not make your life easier at all. They buff the shields of the enemies and make it very annoying to kill them. And they're also very annoying to hit. But that rounds us out.
A formidable performance. This test is now complete. Another job well executed.
Thank you, Lotus. And head on. So, as for our reward, we get a little achievement there. We also get daily standing limit, which hasn't come into play just yet, and void storage limit, or void traces limit, there we go, which we'll deal with in that area later. However, for now, the only thing we can really say we understand is the mod capacity limit, which, as you can see, went up. Very useful, and you'll pretty much be getting master ranks solely for that for a good amount of time, until we can make good use of the other useful things. But without further ado, let's go deal with Vor before our mind explodes.
Are you ready, Tenno? Facing Vor is the only way to rid yourself of him permanently.
Oh, I think I cut off Lotus there, but yes, I do believe we are ready. It's not the hardest thing in the world. that is how you skip a cinematic. So I just hit enter there
This
to...
is our chance. Vor has been stripped of his elite guard. He is vulnerable. Take him out.
to skip that cinematic, so you could hit escape to...
This is our chance. Vor has been stripped of his elite guard. He is vulnerable. Take him out.
Will do. Thanks for repeating yourself, Lotus. But I just hit escape to kind of start the skipping of that cinematic and enter to finish it. I'll pretty much be doing that from now on, just to kind of speed things up. We see those cinematics quite a lot, no reason to see them every single time, and oh god, I'm so bad. One of these days I'll be able to hit somebody, I swear. Thankfully, they're not the broadside of a barn.
I could have saved the Grenier, but they cast me out. Maybe it's not too late to draw your divine blood.
They
So-
spotted you.
To show off the shield, here it is. It's pretty much what you'd expect. You can pick it up with E if you're close enough, and it becomes this nice little portable thing, but you can only use your secondary weapon or your melee weapon while holding the shield. Right now it doesn't last super long, but it is still quite useful. It does slow your movement speed down, so it's kind of offset by speed. This type of mission that we're currently doing with Vor is what they refer to as an assassination mission. And shield guys, not good. You can hit them anywhere they're exposed and even through their little eye slats right there. But this type of mission for assassination,
I will put you down like a rabid cobra.
mostly has us running through an area to get to a boss or a tough enemy that we'll have to deal with. For the most part, bosses are kind of self-explanatory.
Daniel, do you realize your Lotus has sent you to die?
There is the assassination target. You know what to do.
You know.
You will join us, one way or another.
So for our first assassination, it's relatively easy to deal with. Vor is not the hardest boss in the world, especially...
Your corpse will serve us well.
since he's level 1. But with the shield guys in my way, it does get rather difficult to deal with them. Thankfully, if I can hit them, there we go. Your abilities and anything that can puncture enemies is rather effective, such as my bow.
Strike through the Grenier.
If I could hit the broadside of a barn with it. Oh dear. I may go down here. That would be really unfortunate to go down right off the bat.
Strike through the Grenier.
There we go. Let's get back our shields. Stop bullying me, Vor.
This one.
Got him. As you can see, it's pretty much self-explanatory. He's got a couple phases where you down him and he goes invulnerable and heals back up. Oh dear. As long as you run away a little bit and balance out, making sure your shield's gonna go down, you should be
You
fine.
will join us, one way or another.
I don't think I will, Vor. I really don't.
Tenno, look. The Ascaris detonator has just disintegrated. It's as if it was directly connected to Vor. You're done here. Go to extraction.
Simple. Now, in most assassination missions, you'll just leave. No, that is not the right way.
Doors are locked. Time to break in.
That's unfortunate.
Override complete.
Time to
Move
get out.
on.
Let's do what we do best and run away. Going to make a bit of a quick escape here. As I stated before, movement is very critical, especially while trying to get to the end of a mission. Thankfully, if you took my bit of advice about going solo to start out, you don't have to go at other people's pace. And more experienced people will tend to be quicker.
Target down. Assassination contract complete. Great work, Tenno.
So, with Vor defeated, the world somewhat opens up to us.
You've done it, Tenno. Vor's Ascaris is gone. You are free now. But your work has just begun. The origin system is in chaos, and it needs you, Tenno. Vor was just a part of the Grineer machine, and we have seen that the Corpus have begun amassing weapons of their own. It is a dangerous time.
Ordis will gladly assist the operator in
Tenno, vast numbers of Grineer ghouls are breaking ground near Cetus. Kanzu requests any assistance you can provide.
So effectively, I can let you guys read this. You know, it's not super important. It's just stating pretty much what you can do from now on. The world is kind of open to us. We've completed Vor's prize. Effectively, that's the end of the tutorial. And from the end of the tutorial, the world of Warframe is truly open to you. You can pretty much go and do whatever you choose. Most people choose to head to the navigation and kind of go play around on different planets. The first steps kind of being to open up new planets, if I could speak, open up new planets by opening up junctions. Now each of these junctions has objectives which very clearly visible. For instance, if we wanted to go to Mars, we'd have to complete the quest Once Awake, defeat 150 Frontier Grineer, collect 500 Rubido, and complete Suse on Mercury. Now, we're a little bit of a ways away from that, but, you know, the Venus junction, or perhaps one of the other junctions, is fairly simple. Thankfully, we can actually go straight to Venus.
Stand by while I analyze
Once we've
the
completed.
intelligence profiles of the Grineer. Error, not a number. Did the operator enjoy this witticism?
If Ordis would be quiet, once we've completed the junction. So once that junction is completed, we can go to Venus, and then from Venus we can complete the Mercury junction, and then move on to Mercury. This will be our main goal from here on out. So, without further ado, we've got to collect 20 mods, since we've already completed the Quest 4's prize. We've got to upgrade any mod to rank 2, and defeat 3 extremist enemies on Earth. Relatively simple stuff, and we will get on top of that right now, actually. Should be able to go right over to our mods and see our modding interface. So this is the basic modding interface, which is very in-depth, and there are so many caveats to this, I really can't explain it in just 30 minutes. But to begin with, to upgrade a mod, or to, what they say, fuse it, you would select the mod, and then if you have enough of the currency which you need to fuse a mod, which would be Endo, you can click Fusion, and from here you can see kind of what the mod does over on the left side, and what its drain is, which is how much capacity will be drained by the mod. And as we upgrade that, we can see what the improvement will be on it. But thankfully we only got to go to the second rank of this mod to complete the junction. So it's going to cost us a good amount of credits and some Endo, which Endo is much more difficult to get than credits. However, early in the game, credits are more worth it, so I would probably, if you have the chance, hold on to your credits right now. Alright, from here we have a bunch of damage mods, which really don't serve us much of a purpose until... because really they're not good compared to the actual mods, so upgrading those would be a waste. It'd be much better to convert them into credits or into endo. Now endo is harder to get, but as I stated previously, it's much harder to get credits early on, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to convert all of these. And you can, if you select one mod that has multiple or duplicates, you can select duplicates as well. I'm just going to select all of these because we don't really need any damaged mods cluttering up our inventory, and convert all those to credits. It did give me a little warning right there, which is saying that the intensified that's broken is installed on my Warframe, but I'm not worried about that. When you destroy it, it gets converted into credits and it's removed from your Warframe. Getting some chiefs there. So from here on out, the main progression of Warframe isn't truly quests. It's kind of whatever you choose to make it. You can go for weapons, you can go for unlocking the star map, you can go for mastery ranks, you can go for warframes. It's whatever you choose to do from here on out. It's up to you. However, there are more quests, as you can see in the codex, and you can see how to unlock them as you kind of progress. Some of these later ones we won't get to for quite some time, but we're going to try and get through all these quests by the end of this series, and also unlock the entirety of our solar map, which we'll kind of do just to get those quests done. So, without further ado, let's take a look. Okay, so we don't have anything in our foundry just yet to build, and we don't have any other weapons aside from the ones we've got. So, why don't we just jump in a couple games for the moment. Any mission you have not done in the star map that you can do will be marked in this blue, and it will kind of pulse, as you can see. So, the junction, haven't done that yet. Haven't defeated the extremist enemies or applied the mods. But we'll get there, eventually. Let's start by doing this little defense mission here. Defense missions, well, you can kind of see what they look like here in a second.
The enemy is at our doorstep. You must defend our equipment until reinforcements arrive.
In the future, for these mass-repeated text boxes like the one Lotus just stated for every defense mission, I may decide to talk over those, but I'm just trying to give a little bit of breath so we can hear them for the first time. So in this defense mission, the mission truly doesn't start. There are no enemies in this map as far as I know, anyway, until you go into the designated blue ring, which will start this mission where we have to protect the Warframe cryopod. Now, defense missions do change. There are many different types, but the first one you'll run into is the Warframe cryopod missions, and those just entail you protecting this cryopod to the best of your ability. Starting it off, the sirens go, and the mission begins. Things will begin attacking you, and you pretty much just gotta defend yourself. This is, in the game, what they refer to as an endless mission. And I'll get to that more when this first set of waves finishes at 5. Should be relatively easy to deal with most of the enemies in this mission. And defense missions are very good for generating resources because you don't have to deal with exploration. Most of the enemies have a chance to drop the resources. And it's very easy to get large amounts of resources from enemies in defense missions. Now, defense missions are based on how many enemies are in the map, not based on time. So the more enemies you kill, the quicker you kill them, the better. But as you saw just there, that enemy was actually stuck in a loop. It's very common to see this in defense missions. Just kind of explore your map, and typically the last few enemies will have waypoints attached to them, so you can kill them and progress. For now, we're just trying to rank up and get resources, mods, so we can complete that junction of ours. The funnest thing about Warframe is that while it is very repetitive, it tends to be fairly nuanced in the fact that just trying out new weapons and testing out new abilities for different Warframes can very drastically change how you play. It's highly about adapting to new playstyles, getting used to new threats, and dealing with things you've never seen before. So, I'm not sure if I explained what the junction's stating when it says extremist enemies, because all these enemies here are not extremists. We got another one that's stuck. Alright, let's get that energy real quick. These enemies are not extremist enemies, and when they talk about extremist enemies, they're referring to enemies that have a prefix in front of their name. Their name will become extremist something. So it'll be like Leech Extremis, or Energy Drain Extremis, or something to that effect. And, those enemies are typically upgraded versions of standard enemies that have special effects, such as leeching your life or taking your energy. There's some very specific ones that are very dangerous. Energy Drain extremist enemies in particular can be very dangerous to certain frames, but the biggest thing is that they're upgraded versions, so it's very often that these enemies will be very tough to deal with, and one of the things that having a group really benefits you with, because if your weapons are not suited for dealing with extremist enemies, hopefully one of your friends are. We may or may not see an extremist or two in this run. Hopefully we can get through these 5 waves relatively quickly. And for this first set of junctions and the farming that's required, I'll probably show off the missions and going through each one of them. But if it gets too repetitive, or I think it just isn't really that entertaining to watch, or I'm just having a slow day, I'll probably cut out a lot of the farming, or at the very least I'll speed it up and kind of maybe set it to the best moments of farming, just so you could kind of get an idea of what went into the farming. Overall, I don't want to make this series, hours and hours of nothing going on. It's interesting to see it once, but seeing it 100 times is pretty boring. Not to say that the actually playing it isn't. Honestly, you could probably play this game nearly infinitely with just the sheer variance, and even if I just swap to a different weapon, it becomes a whole different experience. Because now instead of the bow, charging it up, I just have to deal with the drop-off of these knives. That's pretty much the draw of Warframe, is, getting the chance to experiment and see how different things affect things. And later on, mods will truly vary this greatly, because mods will improve the performance of even basic weapons. And that really kind of tosses things up in the air and makes the variation very fun to play around with. Just testing out your weapons is a huge part of Warframe. getting to see all of the interesting environments and talking with friends, of course, as you play is also a great, motivator. Oh, I knew there had to be one hiding somewhere.
Reinforcements available.
And
Do you choose to leave now or continue fighting?
so, since this is an endless mission, we could keep going and battle more, but for the current time we're going to extract out, get what we've got. As you continue to go through the missions and get more difficult enemies, and the enemies scale up in level, it gets progressively harder until you just can't handle it anymore, and either you die or you choose to extract from the mission. Those missions can go forever, effectively, but most of the time, most people kind of stop at 30 waves if they're really kitted out and have good armor and whatnot. But in the meantime, we did get the rest of our mods. Let's see, do we have enough to equip to a single weapon so we can show off doesn't look like I have enough mods to equip to a single item.
Your chosen Warframe suits you. Ha ha.
So, since we don't have enough mods to equip to a single item, we will have to farm those up by doing more missions. So effectively we can repeat all the same missions that we had done previously to continue that, get more mods. And we can also do that to get, some extremist enemies. And when you do these junctions, you can see the reward that it gives you, and it gives you some pretty good stuff when you're starting out the game. It's really beneficial to have the mods and items that you get from these junctions. Make sure you don't toss them right away, of course, because they're very useful to you. Especially that Taxion blueprint, that'll be pretty pivotal to us. But in the meantime, I would like to show off another part of the game, since we've got the time, and that would be Cetus. So I've avoided going to this mission because we haven't had to for our quests, nor was it blue, meaning that we've not really, been there. But we actually
did you hear that?
haven't been there. And if
cosmic background radiation is a riot.
Ortis would be quiet for a second, we can go to Cetus and show that off. Cetus is an instanced area, which is kind of like a town. And you can go there right from the beginning. You can join pretty much any of these channels, effectively. They're instances of Cetus. Let's go at 10 for now. Effectively, when you come here, it's like a city that they just recently, well, I shouldn't say recently, they added into the game a while back in the Plains of Eidolon update. And there's a bug, and it's going to show you this when you first come to Cetus. So I'll be quiet from here on out. Or maybe not, I don't know. Big old slab of what appears to be meat. Very interesting looking individuals. And some kids playing what appears to be Warframe. So, if it'll drop me in soon here. There we go. Oh, I gotta do a superhero landing. Alright, so now that we've come into Cetus and seen a little bit about it, there's so much lore and information about this place that I really can't go into major detail about right now. You can just kind of come here right off the bat, really, and this is how you unlock the rest of Earth, is you come to Cetus, and you'll explore this little area and get to talk with one of the I want to say quest givers, but truthfully he gives you bounties, which are similar to missions in the navigation map. I still really don't understand the whole meat thing. Pretty sure it's something about that they're taking apart the tower. There are tons of lore videos out there for Warframe, and probably do a much better explanation of the meat tower than I ever could, and I never thought I'd really ever talk about the meat tower before. So without further ado, let's get into the actual city so you can kind of see some of the characters there. And yes, you can of course do your movement abilities here. Much quicker to get around. So when you come into the city, you'll notice that there are a bunch of orange icons on your map. And those orange icons kind of allow you to talk to...
Rare and mighty beast of the deep with Fisher High-Look's prime bait. Capture it with one of her master-crafted spears. Mount your victory on a fine board to beautify your home and impress your friends. Fisher High-Look.
As you heard her, she allows you to do a bunch of different things, but she's a fisher, and she allows you to purchase a fishing spear.
Different fish need different bait, and Fisher High-Look is your one-stop shop. Swazdula, stranger.
You'll hear them say Swazdula a lot, and that's just a greeting here in Cetus. But you can browse the wares, see today's special, or fishing services. Each of the vendors kind of has the same menu, and it actually works in a similar way to the reputation that you would have unlocked earlier, or let me rephrase that, later. Reputation effectively is standing built up by completing missions, which again I'll get to here in a bit, and that allows you to purchase things.
I should have been a plumber.
Her special allows you to buy things with platinum. These are resources that you might need later in the game. So I wouldn't bother buying anything from them right now. And fishing services...
Let's see what you've got. Wait, you have no fish? Well, what are you waiting for? Go catch some.
This effectively allows you to select fish to provide them for more reputation, or to cut them into bait, which gives you resources.
Well, all right then.
There's more to be done with all the different vendors, and I will probably go over this next time. For now, let's talk with our main friend and potential quest giver here. As you can tell, the most important guy is the guy everybody's crowding around like mad people. Meet Kanzu.
Swazdula, off-worlder. Interested in working for me? Gotta prove yourself first. Head out on the plains and show me what you can do.
So, Kanzu effectively allows you to accept bounties, which are missions. These missions effectively give you any potential of these rewards as a part of the mission, but there's no guarantee that you'll get all of them, or any of them really. You will get some of them as, rewards, but which ones you'll get is based on chance.
You gonna make me use off-world talent? Come on!
You can also check your standing with him, the Ostron standing, which is your reputation. Reputation is gotten, for the Ostrons anyway, by doing the bounties. For other reputations later on, it will be gotten by either doing missions or special objectives.
It would be my honor to help you toward grace.
So you can also advance your title from nothing to off-worlder, visitor, trusted Sura, and then kin by giving Kanzu these items. 25 missile pods, 25 irradiate, or radiate. Oh. Yeah. My little alarm's going off there. Gotta remember to silence that feature. And 25 grok droll and 10,000 credits. You also have to have your maximum amount of reputation when you sacrifice these items to Kanzu to upgrade your reputation. So it's not something exceptionally easy once we get to levels like Kin and Sura. For now, we're just going to exit out of there because we don't have those items. And next time we'll start by explaining
Come back again soon.
the other vendors a little bit more in depth, kind of explaining this area and doing our first bounty, which hopefully goes well because, as a lot of people know, it tends to be a little bit laggy when we're doing bounties. But that's for next time. Thank you guys, and I'll see you all next time.